Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today, as usual, as I get all my stuff set up here in the studio. Anyhow, let's see what we got here. What have we got here? Why is Restream messing with me? Let's go ahead and click this baby off. I don't need to have two screens with that there. And we come on to you. Welcome aboard. Let's see. We've got a full house. Welcome aboard, Senor AVQ. Michael Rudden, how you doing? From Twitch. Yvette Avery Herod, good afternoon. Yvette, our beautiful Yvette. Hey, Yvette, yesterday or 2 days, maybe it's yesterday or the day before, we had this, well, what's today's Tuesday? It was yesterday. We had a union organizer on and we called you out, of course. But what happened is I think you had already left. But you had a kindred person here yesterday for you. Anyway, Alistair Waters is in the house. Lee Grant is in the house. E2247 is in the house. Mitakuye wasi ayapetu wabeti. All my relatives, good day. Today's visit will be the greatest ever, according to E2247. Bridge MCP from upstate New York is in the house. Bruce Pollard is here. He says, Está lloviendo en Houston. It's raining in Houston. Michael Rudden says, Egberto, any chance you saw the John Fugilson video I linked to you? It might be worth playing tomorrow. I don't have it. Is that the one about Jesus? If that's the case, I have that video, and I did a video cast on it. Let me know if that's the one with Jesus, where he talks about what Jesus would do. All right, we got, what else have we got here? Who else is in the house? Paul Fleming from Atlanta, Georgia is in the house. We also have, para ver, quién más está aquí con nosotros. I'm scrolling down. Here, showing here again and again and again. Showing here again and again and again and again and again. I don't know what you mean by that, but I'm pretty sure you're going to tell me what you mean by that. Okay, I'll start reading some of what you guys have to say right now. Para ver, we have Michael Renza Egberto. Tell me if that's the video that I'm talking about. Let's see, 2023, January 2024, Bulletin Science and Security Board, once again, the doomsday clock at 90 seconds to midnight announcement video. Yikes. Doomsday clock full statement, a moment of historic danger. It's still 90 seconds to midnight. All right, let's see. What else have we got here? Para ver. I'm scrolling down to things that are worth reading. I'm not going with the salacious crap. None of that plays here. All right, British MCP says people should read what they post. The newly unsealed court records, however, didn't include any reference to affair allegations that have roiled the case that charges Trump and 18 allies of working to overturn his 2020 elections loss in the state. The judge ordered the unsealing of the divorce case involving Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade after a request brought by a defense attorney who alleges an inappropriate relationship between Willis and Wade. The judge also put off a final decision on whether Willis will have to sit for questioning in the divorce case, but delayed her deposition that had been scheduled for Tuesday. So you heard what it says. The newly unsealed records, however, didn't include any references to the affair allegations. Boy, that's going to get a lot of people mad if they can't find an affair, isn't it? Not that it matters to any of us, right? All right, let's see. Snowing here, not showing. Okay, snowing. My eyes tricked me. I said showing. It's snowing. I must have looked the wrong part of my glasses. Paul Fleming says just in the Carroll versus Trump second defamation trial will not resume until Thursday, January 25th. Oh, I wonder what happened. Okay. Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain. She's in the house with us. Interview with Snea Revanur, the Greta Thunberg of AI. Okay. Michael Rodney said, no, it's a new one that was posted a few hours ago about how racists misuse Christianity to harm immigrants. It seems like I've got to do that tomorrow then. Do that tomorrow, my dear brother, because I like, what's his name? I like, listen, I know his name, but you know how that goes. All right. All right, let's see what else we got here. Para ver, para ver, para ver. Scrolling up, scrolling up. Paul Fleming says Americans open over $14 billion on tax, spent over $14 billion on tax preparation services last year. No wonder tax preparation companies have fought tooth and nail to stop the IRS from launching its own free tool. This is a big deal. I don't see why Americans are made to pay to use a tool for them to file their taxes appropriately. Seems to me like that's the government's job. And to have TurboTax and all these other people, it's just another tax. Remember, TurboTax is just another tax by the private sector for you to do your taxes in a form that's easy to attain, right? The government, that's the government's job. You are paying the government your taxes. They should provide you the online software to do it. It seems simple to me. It seems simple to me. But you know what they're going to say? Socialism. So it's socialism to pay your taxes through the person who is collecting the taxes. No, it's socialism, crony capitalism to give it to TurboTax and all these other guys. Oh man, I tell you. Good catch, Paul Fleming. All right, let's see what else we got. What else we got? Michael Rodden says, conservatives don't read past the headline. Clickbaits get their knee-jerk. I know. John Fugelsang, that's the name. John Fugelsang. I always forget the right name. Okay, let's see what else we got. A flat tax is a regressive tax. So anybody who sits down there wanting to support a flat tax doesn't understand accounting. But anyhow, let's go ahead and let me clean up because as it turns out, I was late again today cutting the last video. So therefore, you know how that goes. But anyhow, there's this guy, I think it's the governor of South Dakota. I think it's the governor of South Dakota. His name is, and I'm looking for it as we speak. I don't have his name right now with me, but I'll mention it in the piece. But it turns out that he started to bloviate so much so that Raddatz, who I think is a bona fide Republican, he really kind of upset her. But anyway, let's go ahead and listen to that, and then we will take it en el otro lado, on the other side. Martha Raddatz, at last, she actually went ahead and called out a Republican. Answer the question. Stop spinning. That's what she said to Doug Burgum, who dropped out of the race, of course, and also another one who endorsed Donald Trump. Asking her about Trump using the racial trope of attempting to make Nikki's real name an issue. But interestingly, when he tried to spin it, watch what Martha Raddatz did.
Donald Trump has taken to referring to his opponent, Nikki Haley, by her given name, a mangled version of that, Nimrata, the kind of thing he did with Barack Obama, using his middle name, Hussein. He's also reposted false conspiracy theories saying she is not eligible to run for president because her Indian immigrant parents were not yet American citizens. She was born in South Carolina. Why do you think he is doing this?
Well, All I know is that I believe this election, the primary election, is going to be over after Tuesday. President Trump is leading in all 50 states.
No, please answer the question,
I think
sir.
it's the time.
Answer the question about why you think Donald Trump is doing that.
I think it's politics. Joe Biden launched his campaign a couple weeks ago with a set of personal attacks on President Trump. He talked about President Trump. He talked about the lawfare that they're mobilizing to try to slow him down as a candidacy. He didn't talk about inflation. He didn't talk about violent crime in our cities. He didn't talk about the open border where we've had a massive invasion. And now we've had more fentanyl deaths than 4 Vietnams in our country under Joe Biden the last 3 years. No, he talked about attacking his opponent. That's politics around the world, and it's politics in America.
So do you think that's the kind of politics that Donald Trump is using, going after Nikki Haley's heritage, that will bring a country together?
I think that you could ask me the question about, what did Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders and Kamala Harris say, the vicious things they said about Joe Biden.
But great. It's great that Martha did that. But at the same time, after answering the question and just saying, okay, it's politics, she allowed him to go on and then continue to misinform the people that are listening to the show. But then again, you got to give credit to Doug Burgum and all the Republicans. They have a narrative, and they have that narrative down pat. It's the border, it's fentanyl, it's immigration again. It is inflation that is actually near and not there anymore, but still getting a whole lot of play. And it is trying to forget that COVID occurred under Trump. It is trying to forget that COVID was something where over 1 million Americans died. They have it down pat. I think it is time for Democrats to include that Donald Trump was responsible for the reaction to COVID that got a lot of Americans killed. You want to talk about how good things were under Trump? His first 2 years, he continued the Obama expansion, and the third year, when it was on him to solve a real problem, COVID-19, he cratered and started speaking about bleaching the veins and all. It is time for Democrats to start articulating this result before that cauterized in people's minds. Donald Trump, how the economy was good under Donald Trump. No, under Donald Trump, he's one of 2 presidents, I believe, that have left with less jobs than when he got there. And you can blame COVID, but it's also how he handled COVID. Remember how Obama handled Ebola? You could have gone to the source. You could have done preventative things way early to protect America, like many third world countries protected themselves, including a place like a little town like my country, Panama. You could have done it, but instead you allowed all kinds of weird anti-vax, anti-mask, and all these things to play an influential part on your pew, on the people who follow you. And with that, we got 1 million plus deaths. Folks, it is time for us to get real. Martha Raddatz, good job for forcing him to answer, but not so good for allowing him to continue to mislead and not having a pushback to all the misinformation that he's given. Exactamente así. Exactly right. Exactly right. All right, let's see what else we have here. Let's see. I got some more information from you guys in here. Let's see. Coming on. Oh, wow. A lot of messages came in while I was doing that. All right. Let's see. We have Lee Grant says, we hear a lot about conservatives wanting to ban books, but we just want to keep pornography and sexually explicit age-appropriate material from children. Moms for Liberty founder Tiffany Justice asks PDR favorite Joy Reid, in what context is a strap-on dildo acceptable in public schools? Joy didn't have an answer. Does anyone in the posse know? I suggest you look at that entire interview because that lady, Tiffany Justice, looked like a clown. You know what? Let me tell you. This is what happened in that interview. Joy said, do you believe every parent has the right to what their children ingest in books, etc.? She said yes. Do you think you have a right to tell my kid what to do? Not necessarily, no. All right. So then Joyanne Reed gave her a piece of paper. So why not, before any book goes out of the library, the student can go ahead and have the parent sign, or rather, the school can have the parent sign that says, my kid is not allowed to check out the books that are on this banned list that we don't want out. Okay? And if you don't want your kid to see it, that is fine. But why should we allow your subjective way? Like, listen to the dildo question, right? Using the dildo question out of context is completely wrong. There was some context to that particular story that had a dildo in it. And likely, if some age appropriate kid read about it, something that may be happening in his house may actually get reported. But let's go a little bit deeper. Because as it turns out, what justice wants is what we call an autocratic way of teaching. In other words, we are going to determine what you can learn. So, as it turns out now, you can't learn certain realities about slavery. You can't learn certain realities about conquest. You can't learn certain realities about colonization. Oh my God, Mr. Zinn's book on the true history of America probably is not going to make the cut. But interestingly, the Bible makes the cut, even though the Bible is one of the most violent books on the shelves, which includes pornography and everything else in the Bible. But there's a TikTok where this guy went on into the school board, and he read a passage. He didn't tell anybody it was the Bible. He just said, should a book that says this be banned? And, oh, yeah, that should be banned. Said, okay, you're banning the Bible. It's amazing. It's amazing. All right. Let's see. Yeah, give us those thumbs up, folks. We need more thumbs up on both YouTube, Instagram, and elsewhere. Mike C6 Egberto, because establishment leftists push a ton of crazy tax adjustments that make the tax code very complex. The IRS can't update software because of these yearly changes. Much of the IRS computers are still running on Windows 95. That's such a very silly statement. You are saying that makes no sense. They have to give the information to TurboTax. They have to give the information to all these different accounting firms. What do you mean they can't do it? It's a joke. Michael Rodin said the IRS could send us an itemized receipt of our taxes for us to verify the receipt and receive the refund. But no, it's these tax software corporations that pay off Congress to keep their worthless asses employed. Adam Ruins Everything had a 4-minute skit about this too. Thank you for that, Michael Rodin. Mike Reg says, Lee, there is thing called internet and parents do control it. Banning is stupid. Not only that, the kids don't need the library. They just have to go to the internet. All right, let's see. What else we got here? There are some kids who identify as bottom and some as top. Discussion about dildos to the vulnerable children. Question it. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. You really are sick, my dear brother. Paul Fleming says it's never a good time to lay off reporters. They're essential workers. The Los Angeles Times plans to lay off 94 newsroom employees, 1/4 of its newsroom staff. Starting Tuesday, a union head announced. The announcement comes after LA Times Guild walked off the job last Friday to protest the imminent layoffs. The first newsroom union work staffage is the newspaper's 143 history. They should all quit and form their own newspaper. That's what I say. They should all quit, get together, and start it with an online paper, get people to subscribe. I can imagine they'll get hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and they'll do just fine. It's time for us to break up the monopoly of a false news media that's controlled by the plutocracy. All right, Justin, Louisiana has a new congressional map. It's a second majority black district that happened yesterday or the day before. The map is a win for black voters and likely bring an end to state's long-running legal battle over redistricting. True. Vidi says there are those in this room that do that. Do they not have an open mind? Some are at the point of crossing over to mag hats. Willful ignorance. Actually, we have a lot of those. All right, let's see what else we got here. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see what else we got here. Michael says, ask a question about a specific topic, get an answer about a tangential adjacent topic. Politicians and pundits who do this need to get their mic cut off. Braveheart, don't change the subject, just answer the effing question. All right, what else we got here? VDGMCP says, so I figured out how the thumbs up isn't working. They troll YouTube and then respond on FV. Like Mike I hear you. Persuasive Virus says, remind people that oil prices started to spike under Trump. That's true. His last 5 months, oil prices spiked 40% before leaving office. He got a deal with the Saudis to lower oil production with a 2-year agreement. It's a funny thing, right? There's an oil shortage, but somehow, look, we never had an oil shortage. It was always a con. It was always a con. All right. Let's see what else we got here now. E2247 says, Diana is a peacemaker, author, activist, veteran, and former sexual assault nurse. Speaking across the country, she empowers us to identify our own rural, urban, political, or religious divides, to cross our own enemy lines in order to remake the world and heal all that's tearing us apart. But I got an eye on PDR too. There you go, brother. Michael Rodden says, if you don't like something, don't participate in it. But don't tell anyone else they can't participate. They say that's the thing. These guys like to wrap themselves in the flag and talk about freedom. What they mean is freedom for themselves, right? They don't want to have open dialogues. They don't want you to know real stuff. They don't want you to know history, because history can be a dangerous thing when you're completely snowed, right? All right. Persuasive Virus says, anyone complaining about books need to have the Bible read to them. There's a lot of nasty in there. Yes, there is. Let's see what else we got here. Lee Grant says, it's been suggested that the sex stuff in the public schools library be placed in special section behind a curtain so only approved kids can get in. Hey, no. Only kids who not why should all of us have to opt in? If you don't like something, you opt out. You opt out. Leave it there for the masses. And if you don't like it, opt out. It's your freedom to opt out. Bree says they banned the dictionary, for goodness sakes. They sure did. Let's see what else we got. Mike C-Sex says, seems like Berto is pushing the pedo line to sexualize kids, so it's easier for them to legalize pedophilia. You know what? You've just earned a repeat of something that I play. The people who we must be concerned about, the people who actually partake in what I will call pedophilia, is not, again, it's not us. It's not the left. The inconvenient truth is as follows, and I'll play it for you right now. Here is the inconvenient truth. You know, a few months ago, I'm scrolling through TikTok because I do a lot of history and technical stuff on TikTok. That's what populates my feed. And a lawyer, Kristen Browdy, she popped up on my on my screen, and it turns out that she started to run a database collecting all the news from 50 states, from all the states in the country, to determine which particular group of people are really bad for children, sexually assaulting children, etc., etc., etc. And as you know, right now, the right wing consistently would have you believe that left-wing folks, the liberals, the progressives, they're perverts, and that we have to be careful with our children. We have to be careful with the books that these liberals have them read and all of that. Of course, recently, all that we've been finding is like, I mean, if you take a look at the chairman of the Republican Party in Florida, turns out that he was he's on trial or he's being checked out for rape. His wife and the woman that allegedly he raped, they were used to having threesomes. So these are our holy folks that, you know, want to be above everybody and try to control everybody's lives. So it turns out that all these people that have been pointing fingers themselves are the ones who we've got to watch, not the trans, not the cross-dressers, not any of that. Listen to my friend, lawyer Kristen Browdy, and then we'll take it on the other side.
What do 3 evangelical pastors, 1 minister of the Nation of Islam, 20 Catholic priests, and 5 church employees all have in common? Well, if you're seeing me, you probably guessed it. They're all new names on the list of people who've made the news for sex crimes with children as victims. The first full week of the year adds 225 names. Our total is now 6,368 since mid-February of last year. If you're looking for actual groomers and pedophiles because some politician told you who they are, in the 47 weeks that I've been tracking these cases, 61 politicians have made the list. 3/4 of them, Republicans. They love to accuse drag queens and transgender people, but you know who isn't on the list? A drag queen. Not a single one. And of the 6,368 cases, only 4, 0.06%, have been transgender. And if you're asking, why pick on Republicans? 9 of the 10 states with the highest incidence per capita in our database are controlled top to bottom by Republicans. We did get some stunning numbers from one of those states, West Virginia. That's the state that ranks 5th worst in the nation in our per capita rankings. The West Virginia Child Advocacy Network says in the year between June of 2022 and June of 2023, it provided services to over 2,700 victims of child sex abuse. And that organization serves only 46 of the 55 counties in West Virginia. In 1 year, they had 2,700 victims from only a part of that one Republican-controlled state. And not one was a drag queen, not one transgender. So Republicans and anyone else who actually cares about kids or this problem, who is it that you're passing laws against? You can check the data. You can run through it yourself, sort it any way you like. It's all available for you to download at whoismakingnews.com.
Now, hear ye, hear ye. Remember this, because this is actually pretty important. This woman who went ahead and find all this data, she made sure to document it, database it, and give you the option to sort it, review it, and do it in whatever fashion you want, just to prove that it's accurate. So go to her site, who'smakingnews.com, and take a look at all the database of all the offenders that we have. And make sure, as you do that, every single time a Republican tries to tell you we have to pass laws against trans, we have to pass laws against cross-dressers, we have to ban books or whatever, remind them that maybe the reason they want all these bans, etc., is not to protect their people against the progressives like myself and others, but to protect them against themselves. That's what it seems like. So says the data.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.
Absolutely so. But anyway, folks, Breach, as it turns out, projection is a powerful thing. And while you see a few of our right wing brothers and sisters here, oh, they are still trying to push that pedo stuff on the leftists, right? You know, we don't have to ask questions. We just have to look at the data. And the nice thing about every single thing in her database is you can go to the news story in whatever newspaper, whatever part of town, whatever part of the country it is. You can go ahead and find that. There is absolutely no problem in getting that stuff done. Again, I repeat, it is absolutely no problem whatsoever in it getting the real data. So when I talk about when you say these people are believers, they're not believers. They're willful ignorance. Remember, willful ignorance says I am going to say whenever the truth is presented to me, I'm going to if I can say, look, you can see the truth here in that newspaper, whether conservative or whatever newspaper, there it is. These are all the pedophiles. These are all the sexual, the child sex predators. We can identify all of these people, and generally, the majority of them are in red states. The majority of them, or a large percentage of them, have religious inclinations, mostly evangelical inclinations, and a lot of them are pastors. You know, all these people that try to talk about pedophilia on the left, it turns out it's not so. In fact, of all the politicians, 75% of the politicians are Republicans who have been caught with pedophilia or caught doing these things. But again, Breach, willful ignorance. They don't want to hear the truth, so they're gonna say la 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 when it's starting to happen. But no sweat. We have the truth, and what we have to keep doing, Breach, is using these guys as catalysts to inform others that simply are not willfully ignorant, but they're just ignorant, right? I don't mind the ignorant person. I was an ignorant person on several issues. Egberto Willis, was ignorant on several issues. As I learned, I became not ignorant, meaning I know now. But there are those who, to placate their ideology, to placate their manhood, to placate certain things that they believe, they decide to remain willfully ignorant, because that way they can go la la la, I'm not hearing you, I'm not hearing you, and they can keep they can remain in their ill-informed state. That's what it's all about. All right, but he says, while some of the apparent prevalence of shooting by transgender individuals to highlight mental health concerns, others pointed out that there had already been more than 100 mass shooters in 2023. Therefore, the number of mass shootings perpetrated by transgender individuals mounted to a fraction of the number in the US over the past 5 years. From posts by another right winger, looking at the headline. Guess they can't read. No, they can. They don't want. They don't want to be informed. All right, Lee Grant says, I think some of those transgender shooters are screwed up by exogenous hormones they take. No, I don't think so. What screwed up Kempf, the guy who murdered the people at the Emmanuel Church in South Carolina? What got to him? Okay, no, it's just hate, just hate, just hate. Paul Fleming says former Columbia doctor Robert Hayden was arrested for assaulting a patient during a gynecological exam. The university let him continue practicing for another 5 weeks after the arrest. 8 patients say he assaulted them during that time. Wow, who's that and what is that about? What is that about? I don't know. All right, Michael Dolan says, okay, Alistair Water is in the house. Alistair Water is in the house. How are you doing, Nuestra Preciosa Alistair?
Hi, good afternoon, brother. Hi, everybody. let's keep going with this transgender and all of that stuff, because in sports they don't want transgender women involved in women's sports, correct?
Yes.
Are women the only ones in sports? Are trans women the only ones in sports?
No.
No. But do you hear anything? Anybody hear anything about a trans man being an excellent athlete
No.
and stepping on the toes of our sons because we have a trans man being better than our sons? You don't hear any of that. Why?
Exactly.
There's money.
Yes.
It's all about money. You know, money and pride and all of that. So I just, it nauseates me. It really does. People are like, oh, there's an advantage for a trans woman being biologically. Well, no, that's BS. That's total BS. Because biologically, depending on the level of transition, they're more female than they are male. Biologically. Depending on where they're at in their transition.
Let me tell you, the thing about it is prejudice. Like I was explaining on the show this morning, Alistair, and I try to get this. We are an autopilot. When we look at some of the things that you hear from, let's say, Brother Ledo or Brother Cisak or whatever, remember what I said this morning on my KPFT show? A lot of this stuff is on autopilot. All this hate is on autopilot. It's all designed. They don't know that they are tools for a system to keep certain things going. It's a tool. And that's what we're trying to teach I'm doing it both at KPFT and here.
On both shows, yes.
Right. And that is why you notice we don't do things like banning folks and all that sort of stuff, because what we want, believe it or not, let's talk about
I think for as distasteful as some of the comments are, banning a person from this platform would be a shot in the foot.
Right.
Honestly, it would turn off a lot more people.
Let me tell you what I see, because what I've been told, Alistair.
Yeah.
I get emails sometimes, and people, they love a lot of emails I get. People love to hate on Brother Ledo, and they love to hate. They don't hate so much on Michael Cisak. They think my Cisak is good-hearted, but completely confused. But they like Cisak, but they really, really don't like Ledo. And what I tell them all of the time is, first of all, I know Ledo personally, right? I personally know Ledo. He lives right here in Kingwood, and you're listening to me now, Ledo. And he's not, I mean, if you sit down and have some coffee with the dude, I never had coffee. I just talked to him at the different events that we had, or we used to, different events we have out here in Town Park. And, it's a nice person, has a family, a nice person, right? He doesn't understand that he's a tool, right? He's a tool of the system. I mean, I saw a TikTok today from Phil Graham, Senator Graham, and Senator Graham was looking at birth rates and that sort of thing, right? And he looked at the birth rates and noticed that brown people were, multiplying at a larger rate, and we have it on tape where this is what he said. He said, this is terrible. I'm paraphrasing. This is terrible. This is terrible. Something is going to go wrong. We need to get white men pissed off.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting down there after I saw this thing. I'm sitting down there saying, why? What's the difference? Who cares? Why do you have to get white men pissed off? No, you don't. None of us are trying to come and take anything from anybody. I mean, you know what? It's so funny.
But
let me tell you what's the funniest thing that I find, and I want all the listeners to hear this. You always hear about, look, we need to have we need to have immigration done in a humane, organized fashion. What's happening at the border right now is horrendous. And I'm not talking about from an American point of view. I'm talking about from the immigrant point of view, that you have so many people that are living in such hell that they will make the journey to come here, and that you have people that claim to be Christians that don't understand that anybody who goes through my country, Darien, there's a Darien jungle. There is no pathway, no streets between the Darien jungle and Panama City, right? No pathway. They have to go through the jungle hiking from Colombia into the Darien jungle. All right. Anybody who does that, the pain that they have to be in to do that. And what do our evangelicals say over here? Get them out, ramp them up, and send them back. Completely antithetical to what Jesus had to say. Completely, right?
Exactly.
But they are Christian. Now, the funny part about it is, all these people are coming here to do is to get a job. When the original settlers came to America, they didn't come to get a job. They came to conquer the land. But it's even worse. They didn't only conquer the land, they annihilated those who were original to the land. So again, let's be proportional here. Anyway, anything else you have to say, my friend?
No, we're good. We're good.
We're good. Well, look,
but yeah.
Thank you for calling in. Thank you so kindly. I love when people call in, by the way. I love it when people call in. So anyway, if anybody else wants to call in, give us a call. Thank you, Alistair, my beautiful sister, for calling in. Please feel free to give us a call. Most of the current illegal okay, let's see. Come on in, my dear friend. I think this is going to be Bridge MCP.
You got that right.
Talk to me, Bridge.
They're talking about the gay issue, the trans issue, the pedophiles, and all this crap. And most of these people haven't got a clue.
Yeah.
That was my life. And I've been around trans people all my life. I'm not talking, well, there's trans and there's drag, and people don't know the difference.
Right.
But it's been, I don't know the exact percentage. Michael could probably look it up. But 98 or something percent people who abuse children, maybe 0.05 or 0.5% women, but mostly it's white, straight men.
Mm-hmm.
It is not trans. It is not gay. Gay people don't want to be with children no more than a regular man or anybody would want to be with a child. But they're getting all this propaganda crap because that's all they push in their heads. And they did a study, I said this before, in Oxford, like in the 90s, on supposedly heterosexual men, and they did all these things with them and showed them pictures and all this crap, and they were real homophobes. They were so against homosexuality. And it turns out every time they showed them pictures, they would be aroused with a man being with a man. And then they showed them pictures, I know, and then they went to this straight white people, supposedly, and they showed them pictures of men with children, and they got aroused. It's white men, majority. It's not trans. They've been in our community all our life. If you want to be trans or you want to be gay, you're born that way. A book is not going to help you. Someone telling you something is not going to help you. I mean, when I was growing up, I was scared to death that I was different. I didn't want to be like that. That's like saying, hey, I want to be black in 1850 Mississippi. I mean, who would want to do that? You're going against the entire world, what you think. So these people commenting on this have no clue. And anybody on here who has any child, brother, sister, relative who is gay and is going to vote Republican, that's just goes against everything. That, I mean, and Lee just said by definition
he doesn't understand what you meant. I understand exactly what you meant, Breach. Actually, Lee, trans is not just the physical change, Lee. Okay? It's not the physical change.
It's not. And most men, I always equate it to this: if you have a eating disorder, and you, what is it called when you throw up and want to make yourself skinny again?
Bulimic.
Yeah, I feel like that. I mean, that's what a lot of people trans do. They go out there and they want to be trans, but when it comes down to the procedure, which is not covered, and they have to get all this money to get it, they don't go through with it because they realize they won't be able to orgasm.
Right.
So they stop. So like it's like they want this, but they don't want this. So why are you doing it? So there is that sect that is there. That's like a little, I don't know what they're doing. They may be sick. I don't know what's wrong with them. They may have a medical or mental disorder. But the majority are not like that. They're not like that. Oh, Michael's posting about 90% right? What straight male is disinformation. Okay, I'll read that later. I knew we would get on that. But I just think that these people also, Alberto, I'm sorry. It's getting so MAGA in here. If you go on YouTube and you read the chat at one point or another, you will see why so many people are just listening or not showing up because they cannot stand the crap that comes out of their mouth. And I know you said it's willful ignorance. I get it. But I don't want to sit here and listen to Fox News being repeated to me.
But let me just say,
something's got to be done.
Let me tell you what I'm sure where I would love to get us. I'm talking about people who are in the know, right? Because I think, and let's talk about this. I have another video to show, but I think this conversation that we are going to have here is more important, Breach, because I want to have this conversation for others to hear with people that are spewing misinformation all of the times. That is the world we live in, right? In other words, as soon as you go out the door, if I go to a restaurant, if I go to the grocery store, if I go anywhere that I'm not in my own domain, I hear a whole lot of misinformation, right? There are times that I feel like correcting it. There are times I just listen to it, shake my head, and move on. What I don't want people to do, and I want us to be a place we can learn to do this, is not disengage. I don't say you necessarily have to engage, but what I don't want people to do and what I would love people to learn to do is not disengage. Because when you disengage, you are giving these guys the victory for being wrong. And that is where I think, in a lot of ways, I am saying we have to toughen our skins. Look, my skin is like probably at 25 inches thick for the things that happened to me, my dear sister. And look, when people call me the N word, the spick word, they call me N above. You know what? Somebody mailed me a few weeks ago, dung in an envelope.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you. Somebody mailed me dung in an envelope. I got this envelope and it felt kind of funny, and I opened it carefully. And the thing about it is I was so shocked I didn't take out my camera because I should have taken a picture of it. Because I have a section of my website that says hate mail, right? If you go to my website, egbertowillis.com, and search for hate mail, you see all the kinds of hate mails that I get. So this particular one was what dung that they sent me. And I kind of smiled. I looked at my wife and said, "What is that?" I'm like, "Babe, it's dung." And she's like, "Oh, get it out of here." I'm like, "I'm getting it out of here." But the thing is this, Breach. I do not react to, look, people call me like I explained on KPFT the other day. People call me all kinds of things. I am so into, first of all, number one, knowing who I am. First of all, I have my new book. I'm getting it in paperback, and I want all my people to buy my book, both to help politics done right, but to read all the things that I've gone through. But I've gotten all kinds of crap in the mail. I have even things where people, I don't know why they think they have to cut out letters and paste it onto a thing to tell me how effed up I am or whatever. So it is amazing.
I can't believe this, that you go through this. I never knew this.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and here's Ledo talking about. I have there are news stories with people that talk about my house being firebombed. Even the Kingwood Observer, the Kingwood carried my story, right? So I constantly tell people about my house being firebombed, right? Ledo refuses to accept that if somebody shoots fireworks at your home is being fire bombed. You know, so it is amazing. I've gone through so many things doing this kind of work. Okay, and the thing that I tell people all of the times is that you sit back and you do it for a reason. We want to change the world, and that's why nothing that these guys tell me, right, bothers me. I don't. Let me tell you what bothers me, and this is very important. I was talking to one of our callers on KPFT, and this guy said something that was a bit sexist, right? And by the way, guys, I'm going to put this on the screen about the story that the Chronicle wrote about when they firebombed my house, and I'm going to put it on the screen as well. It's because just so that people know this isn't just conjecture. This is a story right here, and I'm going to get I'll get the thing on the. So if you look at the screen, you see the story that the newspaper did, what they did to my home. Now, the other thing that I want to say is that if you take a look, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, my dear, so none of this is strange to me, or it doesn't bother me what these people do, and I'm trying to get others to the point where they have that fortitude, right? Because most of these people are paper tigers. They're either paper tigers or paper tigers that get a balls when they get a gun, one or the other, right? They're paper tigers, or when they're when they're cornered, they then turned into they turn into what. But
Do you mean like keyboard warriors?
Keyboard warriors, exactly. A lot of them are keyboard warriors, and then when they get mentally unstable, that's when they then react, and that's the people that do the shoot them up, frustrated, like that guy who did the thing. And what I'm going to do, there's another. Let me just go ahead and see if I can get this on for you real quick as well, because this is, people think, when I say things sometimes, folks are like, oh, is that really what happened or whatever? This is when the story was told on TV on Channel 11 when it occurred. Okay, so I'm just kind of pulling things up to show you. If you look on the screen, you see this is a report. I can't get the sound on this one. This is a reporter talking to other people in the neighborhood that said, hey, did you know your neighbor got his house firebombed? And they're like, oh, I can't believe that happened in this neighborhood. All that kind of stuff. But it happened. It happened. Here is the guy walking up to my house, putting the rockets in the tree, letting it go, and watch the rockets go off. All right. And that's a rockets attack coming into my house right now. The fireworks that normally go up, it came into the house. That's it right there. And these are all women around town. They're questioning. So I understand this stuff. Wow. This is not a game for me. You see?
I know it's not. And for me either. I mean, I never had my house firebombed or had poop in the mail, but I grew up being against these people and meetings and all kinds of crap. I grew up with it that way, and I grew up with Northern Ireland and the British and all that crap. And some of these people have no clue what it's like to be anything. And I'll just touch on one more thing. I know you got to go. The trans thing. There's only one thing about the trans thing that bothers me. Just one. And I'm not sure about it yet still. But I don't think that trans guys should be in women's sports. I don't care if you're trans, drag, white, straight, whatever. Men have different muscles than we do. No matter how much I pump or whatever, I'm never going to get like a man does. So I don't know about that part. I think Lee brings that up once in a while, but I don't know about that part. I mean, that part is like kind of iffy for me. But other than that, who cares?
Right. Now,
Who cares? Just play ball.
Yeah, that part of the discussion, as far as like in the swimming and all of that, that is above my pay grade, and I leave that to the experts, right? That have to say, well, and you just like what you're just saying there, that should be a concern, right? As far as if a trans person have a different muscle group, etc. Yeah, I'm with you there. I've got to be with you there because then that would be something that is unfair, right? So anyhow,
I'm sorry to take up your time, but
oh no.
let
Let me tell you this. You allowed me to have this discussion that I think we needed to have. The goal that I want out of this discussion is this. As obnoxious as Brother Ledo is and other right wingers in the room, they represent a part of America that we can't get away from. And some will change when we lead by example, by loving on everybody. Some will change. Others will remain the way that they are. I can't change that. But I can do my part not to be them. I can do my part to be the person that I want them to be, or I want others to be. So, and
you're doing good at it. Go
ahead.
I was going to say, all I would say is that if you have anybody in your family or friends that are part of this group, if you vote against them, you're voting against them. You're not helping us.
Exactly.
So
you nailed it.
I'll end it and say,
you nailed it. Hey, sis.
Thanks,
thank you. Thank you very much for calling in because again, you helped the discussion. Thank you, Mike, for reminding me. It's 4 p.m. I won't be able to do the last video. I'll play the last video tomorrow on the show tomorrow because it's a good one about the media. So we'll talk about that one tomorrow. And Michael, I promise you to go watch the Fugil Sands video, and I'll probably turn it into an actual story as well. So yes, thank you for bringing that up. Very, very, very important, guys. Look, thank you for being here. Love all of you. You know that I mean that from the depths of my heart. I also want you guys to be supporters. Many ways that you can support this program. Remember, this program is done assuming that it will be supported by all of us, right? So you can go to politicsdoneright.com/support. Politicsdoneright.com/support. Let me just say something. Lee Grant is a supporter. Lee Grant is our brother from the right wing, and I like the way Lee Grant speaks about. He tells us a lot of stuff, and he pisses me off a lot sometimes, right? But he comes to the program. He contributes to the program both with his words, and sometimes we agree, not many times. But I think Lee Grant is understanding a lot that we talk about, but he supports us. And he's here, and I love that, So I just want to give a call out to Lee. Now, of course, Bridge always, and we have a whole lot of folks that are always there, Rodnan and many others, brother Bruce, everybody else. But I call out on Lee Grant because Lee Grant has a friction with me, and he sees the value in what we do. So please be at least more. Come on, more of you. Right wingers, be supporters of this platform that you like to come to. Go to politicsdoneright.com/support. Politicsdoneright.com/support. You can find a lot of different ways to support the program. Another thing that I'd like you to do is to go ahead and become a member of, or rather a subscriber to our newsletter. It's free. Anybody can subscribe to our newsletter by going to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. But if you go ahead and become a paid subscriber, all my books, all 5 that I've written thus far, and all the subsequent books, you will have access to on Substack to read. So again, I got to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for showing up. Love you all. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.